just following orders was never a good excuse to perform actions of murder and colonialism or genocide over people. I'd say that the people that are actually performing those actions, that are following those orders, are just as much responsible as those giving the orders, because they're the actual ones doing it. It takes two to tango, so to speak. You have to have the receptive audience that's willing to do what this entity's saying, that's saying, you do this, no questions asked, that's just the way the chain of command works, in which case you are effectively a cuck, because you are just following orders from a so-called higher position over you. So the whole military basis is actually producing a bunch of sissies, in my opinion. People get out of the military and they're the most effective consumerists. They're some of the most ardent to actually take that pride and so-called honor just from being having been a successful slave for as long as time as they were in, and then they go out and they do that in the real world. Not all, obviously. There's exceptions, and those exceptions are very, very telling of because their experiences and their takeaway on everything is usually 180 degrees different than those who have just taken it and who benefited from it enough to where they feel justified and, oh, it must have been a good thing I'd done. There are those who, on the contrary, speak out because they feel inside a moral obligation too. And really, some of the true leaders, I think, and as opposed to rulers, affect people in that sort of way, in an inspiration type of way, where their people are actually questioning what they've done, really taking responsibility for what they've participated in, and thinking for themselves, using their own brain to think. And I think that this has to become normalized on a certain level of critical thinking, on a certain level, so that people aren't just led to these sort of wars. And I hope that we've reached a point now with Syria that the people, any of you in military, U.S. military particularly, speaking as an American, will just not follow orders of your orders. I mean, do not consent to the warmongers, please. There's too much at stake. There's too much that obviously another world war could easily just ignite at any moment if we're not already in the first stages of it. And it's up to you if you want to be complicit in that. You are grown men and women making decisions. You are not property of the government, and if you carry through their decisions of what they're telling you and continue to harm innocent people and invade countries and whatnot, trust me when I say that you'll have less and less support from your fellow Americans, to the point where you might actually find yourself distanced and alienated from your American brothers and sisters, who many of us stand for the sovereignty of all the Middle Eastern countries that the Israeli government has ordered these invasions for the Greater Israel Project and the Saudi expansion, and you're working for bad people. So get it out of your head that you're on some sort of moral high ground here, please, and don't try to use this as an opportunity to express some kindness towards those people over there. As long as you have a gun, as long as you're a soldier for these evil entities, you'll not be perceived in the way that you maybe would naively think that you should be perceived, because you have a good heart. That's just more indication that you need to get the fuck out by any means possible. Stop doing what you're doing. And any of you that are in higher positions, like generals, chiefs, officers, you need to question things more than anyone else, because there's huge responsibilities on your hands of actually also not following the orders. And those peers who respect you will listen to you more than they'll listen to a YouTuber. So it's important for also you to speak up, refuse orders, and let's do our own thing. Let's stop this nonsense, and once and for all. And I pray, and I hope, and everything else, that this doesn't continue to go down the path that we're going with Syria, and that the military complex simply stops listening to these people, these genocidal freaks, who will just continue to lie and to spread propaganda in order to fulfill their greater Israel project and create false flags and whatever else. These are not good people. They're not from Israelite blood. They're from the Edomites. They're from the Babylonians. They're not even Semitic, and they're posing as Semitic people. And then if you speak out against them, their Orwellian asses call you an anti-Semite for speaking up for the Semitic peoples of the Middle East. So they don't make any sense either. We've been used to it for a while, some of us that are aware of the lies of these people, of the ridiculousness of their lies and of the way they speak, their chutzpah and their gaslighting. It's just, we've had enough of it, and I hope many of you have had enough of it as well, because we are all one and we're all from the same source, and this place would be a lot better if people understood that instinctively. Of course, knowing that the earth is concave, not convex, is a huge thing, although that is not the point of this video. Earth does not curve down, the surface curves up, it provably curves up, and it provably does not move, it's stationary. So that's a huge, huge truth that I hope people will actually investigate what I'm saying. I leave links in my other video, and I'll leave links in this one as well. It helps bring things to light as far as the extent of the lies, because it is true. Trust me on that. Look it up. No, don't just trust me on that, actually. Look it up. Please research for yourself. Earth is concave. I know that sounds nuts, but it is an enclosed system. And once the more you look into it, the least crazy it sounds. Trust me that the more you look into it, the least crazy it will sound. I can pretty much 99% guarantee that. So, and that being the truth, that we're not on a planet, that the planets are housed by Earth, and the universe is housed by Earth, it brings everything back into perspective, how close everyone is, how close everything is, and how everything must, by default, affect everything else being so close in proximity compared to what we've been told. So, yeah, I'm glad that I've decided to do this video. I'm really upset about the things going on in the world. I've been trying to stay away from, actually trying to get away from internet a little bit, just to be able to retain my sanity. Personally, I mean, this stuff really bothers me, and it's going to bother me regardless of how much I research it, but just to be able to work and be able to also figure out things, to actual activism to do, and the next steps for me has been really important with all this mess. So I hope others are reassessing their lives, and hopefully will make the right decisions in the near future if there's big decisions to be made by even the public on who to really side with if things were to really hit the fan. If there are Russians that come in and for whatever reason during a world war here, I'm not going to say, oh, those are my enemies. Definitely not. Anybody who comes here, unless they are just outright going to try and kill me, I'm going to try to make peace with, and that's just my nature and how I think that actually we could accomplish something here and not lead ourselves into another bloody, bloody war that could be even worse than World War II, and worse even than what we've been involved in since